A very good morning and a very happy new year. Welcome to 2025, everyone. This is the Early Edge, and thank you for spending your morning with us. Or if you're listening on the podcast, thanks for spending your afternoon with us. CID says, Happy New Year, family. And he says, let's make it a resolution that we hit the button, the like button, before we do anything else. Absolutely love that resolution. If you have a New Year's resolution, go ahead and put it in the chat. Maybe some of us are chasing down New Year's resolutions that we never came up with. All right, let's take a look at the recap screen before we bring in the stars of the show. A rare losing day. We've had a good couple of weeks here, but we go 2-4. My pick for the century, I'll have another pick later on this show, is pending. So we have that on the board for those of you that missed yesterday's show. It is top Canadian Taylor Pendrith plus 225. You might notice that line has moved. It's like plus 210, plus 200 in some places. So it looks like we got the better of the line. But again, 2-4, we got to do better than that. And we've got two of the absolute best at SportsLine. And I know you're thinking, hey, Sia, you probably just say that every show. No. Actually, two of the best at SportsLine. It's PropStarz. It's Tom Casale. Tom, how you doing today?
Good. I'd be doing better if San Jose State didn't start out 0 for 21 from three-point range last night. But I guess, hey, listen, nobody told me they were starting New Year's Eve celebration a little early. Hey, it's sometimes you get those clunkers in there, but we'll bounce back today.
Proppy, I'm convinced that if we were on the floor for San Jose State, we could have gone better than 0 for 21 yesterday.
I think there's a good chance of that, Sia. Also, good morning, gentlemen. I'm honored to be on here with you both. Our first show of the new year. I couldn't be more excited. I'm currently streaming from my father-in-law's residence, which is always fun. So, yeah, I'm stoked to be here and stoked to break down an NBA slate with you guys tonight.
Proppy, it's just us. It's just, that nobody else is listening or watching. Is this cool to be at the in-laws place, or we get along with the in-laws? How's that going?
We get along great with the in-laws. Happy to be here.
All right. I don't know if that was a stock answer or not, but we got to get into some picks. If you have picks in the chat, Diamond Kick, I haven't seen your name in here before. Thank you for being in here. KC3, Jeff Stenberg, CLE fan, Moshi. Again, CID, shout out to you. If you have any questions, hello, Joe Neuenfeld. Let us know, because we got a lot of college games and we've got a lot of college football picks on the SportsLine site, but only a few here today. But if you have questions for Tom Casale on some of these college football games, he'll give you a lean one way or the other. But Tom, we got to start with your official play, and it's a college football prop.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Travion Henderson over 52.5 rushing yards. I think this total is a little low when you look at Henderson's done this season. He's gone over this number 11 of 13 times. In the first meeting against Oregon, he went for 87 yards, 8.7 yards per carry. Penn State just gashed Oregon for 292 on the ground a few weeks ago. And the thing about this game is they can't really stack the box because the Ohio State's receivers, you don't want to leave them one-on-one. And I think Ohio State's going to be aggressive in the passing game. So even though Henderson splits time, I just think he's been the better back all season. He was the better back last game against Tennessee. And I do think there's a chance that Ohio State is playing with the lead here in the fourth quarter. So I think if Henderson gets his 12 to 14 carries, he easily goes over the 52.5 rushing yards.
It's interesting. There are some people in the chat, and I know player props, Tom, aren't available in every single state. So for those that are watching Ohio State, Oregon, you did mention Ohio State maybe playing from the lead in the fourth quarter. I'm not asking for an official play, but do you have a take one way or the other on that game?
I do, and I have a play up on SportsLine. Listen, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think you can look – sometimes – maybe teams drive into the red zone and they keep shooting themselves in the foot, a la Boise State. But you look at these two teams and how they match up against each other. I think a lot has to happen for it not for both teams not to put points on the board. And the only reason I give Ohio State a slight edge is because sometimes I think college defenses are a bit overrated because they rack up stats against bad teams. Mm-hmm. But Ohio State has the number one defense. Now, Oregon showed you in the first meeting that don't really matter because they went up and down the field like nobody's business. But I think when push comes to shove on a neutral field and one of those defenses has to make stops in the second half, I think it's going to be Ohio State. If Ryan Day comes with a Tennessee aggressive game plan, I think they'll be in good shape. If he comes with a Michigan game plan, he's going to be looking for work tomorrow.
That is very well put. I will say this, Tom, I'm just remembering that Debo actually put at least one of your official plays on this game. He put it on the screen for us to see on the early edge yesterday. And again, for those of you who missed it, I'm just going to say what it was. And Tom, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was the over in that game, 55.5, correct?
Yeah, I thought it should have been about 58.5. So I think you're getting a little value on the number. Probably go up here today as people come in and bet the game. But they both went over 30 in the first game, and that was with Ohio State turning the ball over and playing some again, I think both offenses have opportunities down the field all night long if they want it. And neither of these teams, especially Oregon, I don't think they're going to come in and play conservative. Oregon's not going to come in and say, we're going to try to beat Ohio State 13-10. They're going to try to score, and Ohio State's going to have to keep up with them.
All right. Love the take. Love the write-up. Again, we have the two people on the show right now. I mean, there's many more, if we're being honest. I like to think I might be one of them, but you want to have your notifications on for PropStarz, for Tom Casale, because usually when they put these picks out, the numbers switch pretty rapidly. We do have another SportsLine pick to throw out at you. It's Texas-Arizona State under 52.5. That's the Peach Bowl, Texas-Arizona State under 52.5. Tom, we have a little bit extra time, and I do want to get to PropStarz NBA props, but do you have a take on a side in this game? Again, not asking for an official play, but it looks like SportsLine likes the under 52.5. What do you think in Texas, Arizona State?
Yeah, this is an interesting game. I think Arizona State's going to throw everything out there. I think they're going to try to win this game. They're not going to play conservative. They're not just going to run scatterboo up the middle. I think they're going to try different things. The one pick I kind of like in this game a little bit is Texas over 16.5 in the first half. If you watch Texas in some of these games, they start really fast. Michigan, they were up 24-3 at the half. A&M, they were up 17-0 at the half. Then they kind of even out. Ewers can be hit or miss sometimes in the second half. So it wouldn't surprise me. I like the way Sark calls up those plays early in the game. It wouldn't surprise me if Texas gets out to an early lead, but then things settle down in the second half. So that's kind of my lean for this game. I think at some point Texas pulls away. I do. I think Arizona State's going to give it a heck of a run here for a while, but I think Texas is going to pull away in the second half.
All right. I'm just trying to squeeze out as many leans and takes as I can on a big college football day. If you want to make any of these bets or any of the bets you're about to hear from PropStarz or myself, go to BetMGM. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10 and you will receive up to $1,500 instantly if your bet loses with bonus code EDGE. That's bonus code EDGE, EDGE. All right. Well, I got to say, Mark Buckholz, somebody who's been in this chat, feels like every single day, and so many of you, Gippers Picks, Joe Neuenfeld. If you're new to the chat, that's great. But if you've been here every single day since the beginning, that's even better. A big shout out to Mark. Today is his actual birthday, January 1st on New Year's Day. It looks like the chat is already wishing you a happy birthday, Mark. But thanks for being in here. Thanks for being such an active member of this community and of this family. All right, let's get to another active member of this community and family. It's none other than PropStarz. But before we get to his picks, we got to take a break and hear a message from our partners.
The clock never stops. Relive the greatest moments with uninterrupted highlights and more.
It's Gareth Bale! Ronaldo! Wonderful goal!
On the UEFA Champions League channel. Streaming free.
We're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Lucas Schaefer says, I love this show and Happy New Year. I'd love to hear that. PropStarz with the big nod there. Proppy, can I ask you something before we get into your two player props? There's a lot of people, I think, that are so invested in football, and I'm one of them, by the way, that are so invested in the NFL and just watching the college football playoff, and golf is starting up for me and some of the golf people. And my question for you from a betting standpoint is, you're the prop guy. You don't usually look at sides. In the NBA right now, are you finding it harder, easier, or just the same to find props? Because the state of the NBA, I think a lot of people are kind of like, hey, what's going on with the NBA? People sitting, load management, things of that nature. Is it business as usual for you?
Business as usual for me. I know on the outside looking in, it seems like the NBA, with the ratings and a lot of the negative attention and press that it's getting, certainly from a viewership standpoint is having a net negative effect. But yeah, as far as props are concerned, just as many opportunities as ever, still a very large surface area, and still plenty of inefficiencies and lots of new and emerging markets to take advantage of. And I think things are good as far as betting is concerned.
All right. Well, let's you've got 2 picks for us. Let's start. If you want to start with Colin Sexton, maybe we can start there.
Let's go. See, nothing like starting the new year with a couple of sweaty unders here.
Yes.
Starting with Colin Sexton. We're going to go under 4.5 assists for Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton is a natural scorer. First and foremost, he's going to look to score before he's going to look to be a playmaker. However, he's kind of been the de facto point guard for this Utah Jazz team that's been undermanned recently. We've seen Jordan Clarkson and Keontae George in and out of the lineup. That's kind of thrust Colin Sexton into this role as the primary distributor. That's not what he wants to do. He wants to score. Both Keontae George and Jordan Clarkson are back in the lineup. That thrusts Sexton back into that primary scoring role where he's averaged just 3.8 assists on the season. So 5 assists is a tall order for him, especially against the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are absolutely rolling right now, having won 10 straight games, the hottest team in the NBA. They also play at the second slowest pace as well. They're a 13.5-point favorite, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So there's some significant blowout potential here, which could potentially reduce Sexton's minutes in the fourth quarter. So I think all things considered, with the rotation being back to normal, the guard rotation, and the opponent, this is a really good spot to fade Sexton under 4.5 assists. And then I'm going to go over to the New Orleans Pelicans. I talked about the Knicks being the hottest team. The Pelicans are absolutely terrible. They've lost 19 of 20 games. 5-28 on the season are the New Orleans Pelicans. However, the one lone bright spot has been Trey Murphy, who's been playing really well in the month of December. But I'm going to fade him. I'm going to go under 28.5 combined points, rebounds, and assists for Trey Murphy. It's a big number for Trey Murphy. I did mention he's playing well here, but I think this coincides with this team just being really banged up. Obviously, no Brandon Ingram, no Zion Williamson, but CJ McCollum is back in the lineup, as well as DeJounte Murray here. Also, if we look at this number, it's just a big number for him. He's appeared in 20 games this season. He's been held under in 13. Facing Miami. Miami hasn't been great, but they're still an 8.5-point favorite here. So there's certainly some blowout potential when we're talking about the Pelicans and how poorly they've been playing. Miami also plays at the 4th slowest pace. They're still top 10 in defensive efficiency as well. So it's a bit of a difficult matchup for Trey Murphy. Ultimately, I think this number is a couple ticks too high. I'd play it down to 27.5. I know there's 28.5s in the marketplace, which I obviously prefer. But if you only have access to 27.5 PRA for Murphy, I'm still comfortable as a full unit play at that number. But love both of these spots. Fading Colin Sexton under 4.5 assists and under 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Trey Murphy.
Proppy, can I ask you something about the Knicks? I mean, I think going into the season, people were thinking it's probably the Celtics to win the East again. At least that's what the odds were telling us. And then the Knicks were kind of, behind them. And there's some teams that have really emerged, like the Cleveland Cavaliers and a couple of other teams that look pretty good. Do you think the Knicks are a threat to actually, I don't want to say a threat in the sense of like, it's easy to call yourself a threat, right? Yeah, you could possibly be one of the 4 best teams. Are they a threat to knock off the Celtics if both teams are healthy heading into the playoffs?
It's really hard to repeat in the NBA. The Knicks are playing great basketball. I think that's partly a byproduct of Tom Thibodeau. He's comfortable playing his starters extremely heavy minutes in the regular season. A team like Boston that's obviously experienced, their goal is to get healthy come April, May, and June. Whereas the Knicks, I think Thibodeau throws caution to the wind. Obviously, they have good chemistry right now. Cat's been a great addition. They have a great roster, 1 through 5. They play great defense on the perimeter as well. So I think they're live. I do question if the Knicks will be healthy come the playoffs. I think when you're playing your starters heavy minutes over the course of an 82-game season, guys are just going to wear down. So I think it's unlikelier that the Knicks are totally healthy entering the postseason. If the postseason started today, I would say yes. But 3 months from now, I have some serious questions if they can withhold this sort of workload. So as of right now, yes, but I still think there's a lot of time for things to go south.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I would agree. Not being the expert you are in the NBA, I would agree with that sentiment. Jacob Couture, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, so let me know. He says Jaden Ivey over 14.5 points. He likes that at minus 130. Good look there. Tom, I have a question for you about the Notre Dame game and the under specifically, because Gipper's Picks has kind of a comment on that. I think he likes the under in that game. He doesn't think either team's going to score a ton. Before we get there, though, before I ask you that question, I do want to give out my pick. This one's a little tricky, so I'm going to give you a couple of different options. I think everybody who knows, like if you follow golf, you know when I give out first round leaders and outrights, you can get those anywhere. Top 20s, top 30s, top 40s, generally speaking, you can get those pretty much everywhere. Round matchups, typically when it comes to three balls, you can get those anywhere. But unfortunately, a lot of these sites have just different options, especially heading into a tournament. So we're just going to have to kind of deal with that. I'm still going to give out picks. I'll give sort of alterations to the picks where I think you can get it at kind of all books. So here's the actual official pick. Harry Hall minus 140 over Nick Taylor. Right now, you can only get this at DraftKings under three-ball matchups. You go to matchups, you go down, you scroll to the right, you'll see three-ball matchups, and you'll see Harry Hall minus 140 over Nick Taylor. If you don't have this pick, and I'll explain why I like this in a second. If you don't have this pick, look for just regular round three balls, which most books, if they don't have it right now, they should have it up before this tournament starts. It's over in Hawaii, so it's going to start kind of in the middle of the night. So check before the night is out. You'll have a three ball with Harry Hall over Nick Taylor and Jonathan Vegas. And Harry Hall's price on that will be around plus 120. I still like that, but I'd really like my official pick better because I get to isolate Nick Taylor. The reason I like this pick is Harry Hall is playing really well. He played the fall swing, played really well. Stats, weighted stats, they all look good, especially the putter, which is definitely going to matter here. Nick Taylor's been flat out bad. I mean, he has been bad for almost a year now, and the putter isn't cooperating. The ball striking isn't cooperating. This is one of those numbers where I honestly think this should be closer to like minus 180, like closer to minus 200. So if I'm getting Harry Hall minus 140 over Nick Taylor, I'll take it. If you don't have this pick available, look for the three ball. It includes Jonathan Vegas. I do kind of like Vegas, but not as much as Harry Hall. But for those of you that are like, hey, man, I don't have the Harry Hall pick, how about some first round leaders? I'll give you 2 first round leaders now. And then later on, when I determine the next 1 or 2, because I'm thinking about a couple of others, I'll put it in the SportsLine Discord. I'll also tweet it out. The first round leaders, Sam Burns at plus 2,800 and Eric Cole, which you should be able to find somewhere between plus 4,500 and plus 5,000. I'll have 1 or 2 more to offer you as I do some more research. I got to kind of gauge the wind and things of that nature for some of those afternoon people. But again, check out the SportsLine Discord because I'll have some of those picks in there as well, including some outrights if you all are interested in that. All right, let's get to that Notre Dame question. Tom, Kipper's Picks is very sharp. He's always in our Discord. He's giving out picks. He's commenting on picks. He likes the Notre Dame under. Any thoughts on that game whatsoever, whether it's the total or the side?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. The under is so low. It makes me a little nervous, but I don't see how these teams drive on each other consistently tonight. Whatever you think of Notre Dame, people always look to the past. And I always say, be careful. Remember when Purdue never made a Final Four? Guess what? They made one. And they'll talk about how Notre Dame's been whooped here and whooped there like 10 years ago. Don't matter. What only matters is tonight's game. And Notre Dame's defense is for real. Now, the only thing that concerns me about Notre Dame is this. When I was breaking down this game, their best win is in early September against Texas A&M. Notre Dame, to their credit, plays a tough schedule. It just turned out this year because of teams not being good like Florida State and USC. It turned out being pretty easy. But I think Georgia's offense without Carson, I don't know if they're going to be able to hurt Notre Dame tonight. I think this is going to be a game after the first 10 minutes. Both coaches are going to see, they're both defensive-minded coaches. They're going to fall into we're not going for 4th and 2. I don't care what everybody on Twitter says. We're punting from the 50. We're playing field position, and we're going to let the other team make a mistake. So I see a low-scoring game. Side I think is 50-50. I think if you have a good read on the side tonight, God bless you. I give the slightest of edges to Kirby Smart only because he finds a way to, in these big games, to get Georgia ready to go. But low-scoring game, 2017, winner at a field goal probably in the 4th quarter.
All right. Absolutely love it. People asking me questions about the golf pick. Yeah, it is just a round matchup if I didn't make that super clear. And again, right now it's just on DK. If you hit matchups under golf, obviously, and you scroll all the way to the right, you'll see 3-ball matchups. That's where you get an opportunity to isolate Harry Hall -140 over Nick Taylor, who, by the way, is +110 in that matchup. Sahith Thigala, first round leader winner, says Farzad. That is an interesting one. I think he was second place last year at this tournament. So that is a pretty solid call. We know he can get absolutely hot. Proppy, anything before we get to the recap screen from a basketball standpoint, anything in the chat you felt like you needed to address?
Nothing, but I will be in the SportsLine Discord later. So if anyone has any questions, there's also a good chance I'll have another pick. As we know with the NBA, we don't have a lot of lineup clarity until about an hour to 45 minutes before tip off. So I oftentimes will have a pick leading up to tip off once we have a better idea of who's going to be in and out of the lineup, or with so many guys questionable heading into these games.
All right. Connor Johnston says, I gave out Michigan +570 money line yesterday. I did see somebody say that yesterday. So, Connor, shout out to you. I think he says he likes Georgia too. Proppy, go ahead.
One last thing. I will be doing a Discord Q&A tomorrow, I believe at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, just breaking down tomorrow's NBA slate. I believe it's a 6-game slate, if I'm not mistaken. So we've had great turnouts in the Discord chat, so I hope to see all of you guys there. If you're not in the Discord and you're a SportsLine member, you have access to the Discord. And as Sia mentioned, it's a great place for information, not just from all the SportsLine experts, but people sharing information in there as well. It's been a treasure trove of knowledge, so it's certainly recommended. I love it in there, and I will be chatting in there both today and tomorrow, but tomorrow specifically at 3:30, I believe, Eastern.
And Tom, you've been a part of some of those expert chats as well, correct?
Yes, and I will be. Listen, we got a big Saturday college basketball slate, and I'll be there at 10:30 in the morning Eastern time to talk. Hey, we got Florida, Kentucky, and I'm pretty sure I'll have a pick on that game. I've been sitting here waiting patiently for that spot. So big Saturdays start to become college basketball now, Sia. And and hey, really quick, if I can mention this,
please.
Listen, today happens to be one of the only days of the year I have to leave the house. Me and my friends have always gotten together for New Year's Eve to watch football, and they won't let me out of it. Been trying to get out of it for 5 years, so I have to leave the house. I try to get the college basketball games up as fast as I can because the line moves. If I can't, keep an eye on the Kansas City, South Dakota opener for tomorrow. Kansas City starting to play well. South Dakota 1-6 on the road, and the 6 losses, they've given up 90 points in every game. That's hard to win on the road if you have to score 100. Could be 3 or less because Kansas City started the year off slowly. Watch that opener. I'll be on the ruse if we get the good line on the opening number.
Kansas City, South Dakota? Is that what you just said?
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is just perfect.
Hey, me and PropStarz, we go where the money is, baby.
If this isn't the perfect advertisement for SportsLine, but specifically Discord, like if you're a SportsLine member, like Proppy said, and you're not in Discord, I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but like, what are you doing? Like, because you got to be in both. Discord is so easy. For those of you that are kind of old school, like maybe Tom and I, like it's instant messenger on steroids, on HGH. I mean, that's what it is. So it's just as easy as instant messenger is the point I'm trying to make. So definitely get into that Discord. All right, what a show. 2 of the best, and me. PropStarz, Tom Casale, Sia Nejad, Debo in the background. Everybody, hopefully have a great New Year's Day. We've got so much good football, but buckle up because Tom mentioned it. We got college basketball. We got all kinds of NBA through June, July. Baseball's coming back soon. There are so many reasons. Oh, yeah, by the way, the NFL playoffs start soon. There are so many reasons to be a part of the Early Edge, part of this family, part of SportsLine, part of the Discord, and just part of everything that people like Tom and PropStarz touch. So let's have a great New Year's Day. Let's start off the new year right in 2025. Happy New Year again to everybody. On behalf of PropStarz, on behalf of Tom Casale, on behalf of Debo on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s, I'm the Counselor of Cash, Sia Nejad. Again, have a great New Year's Day. This is the Early Edge. We rest our case.